On the eve of the Australian Open final, Rafael Nadal's coach Carlos Moya admitted the mere presence of Novak Djokovic has forced the 17-time Grand Slam champion to adapt his game. Unable to cope with the physical demands of trying to grind opponents down on a hard court, the 32-year-old has accepted he has to change his ways. Moya wanted his compatriot to play a more aggressive brand of tennis from day one. Since the first day I came on board, my main goal was to convince him he should play more aggressive, he told a small group of reporters at the Lavazza Cafe in Melbourne Park. What does it mean to play more aggressive? It doesn't just mean hitting more winners or about hitting hard, it's about positioning on the court, trying to stay closer to the baseline, trying to return closer to the baseline. I would love him to be 20 years old, but he's not. He's 30 years old and has the history of a lot of injuries, so for me that was the only way to have a longer career. The specter of the remarkable 5 hours and 53 minutes 2012 final, the longest in Grand Slam history, between the pair looms large over this upcoming encounter. But for Nadal, it's vital to avoid another marathon match against the world no. 1. Well, it's one of the important things to have in mind, he said of Djokovic's role in their plans to overhaul Nadal's game. I've been watching replays of the match they played, 6 hours. I think he has to avoid that. Not only for the final but also what it takes to recover from that and the risk of injuries. The early signs have been good for Nadal. Current ranking: Nadal, 2 Djokovic, 1 best Grand Slam result Nadal, champion, Australian Open 2009, French Open x11, Wimbledon x2, US Open x3, Djokovic, champion, Australian Open x6, French Open 2016, Wimbledon x4, US Open x3. Head-to-head: Nadal 25-27, Djokovic. Nadal route semi-finals are 1-6, 4-6, 3-7, 5. Duckworth are 2-6 -3-6, 2-6, 2. Ebden are 3-6 -1-6, 2-6, 4. De Minaur 4-6 -0-6, 1-7, 6. Berta QF 6-3, 6-4. 6-2 Tiafoe F 6-2, 6-4, 6-0. Tsitsipas Djokovic route to semifinals are 1-6, 3-6, 2-6, 2. Kruger 2-6 -3-7, 5-6, 4. Songer 3-6 -3-6, 4-4, 6-6, 0. Shapovalov ER 4-6 -4-6, 7-6, 2-6, 3. Medvedev QF 6-1, 4-1. Red Nishikori Sef 6-0, 6-2, 6-2. Pui. He's yet to drop a set at Melbourne Park, keeping the strain on his body to a minimum, and has produced some scintillating tennis along the way. Andy Murray's former coach Ivan Lendl, an 8-time Grand Slam champion, is a firm believer that those who move with the times are always improving and therefore thinks Nadal is playing his best tennis on a hard court. You look at any sport where you can measure the result and it keeps moving forward, and forward, he said. I will ask you, why shouldn't tennis move forward? So is it the best, Rafa, on hard courts? Most likely because I think every player is better than 2 or 3 years ago, and we're talking probably 7 or 8 years ago. All the players improve all the time, so the answer to that should be yes. Sweden's 3-time Australian Open champion Mats Wilander added, it's the best I've ever seen him hit the backhand serve for sure, and I think forehand comes easy when he serves well and hits the backhand well. The changes to the Nadal serve have been well documented, but he's yet to face an opponent with the returning pedigree of the world no. 1. Rafa's big push in the off-season has been his serve, trying to get it onto the opponent much faster than he had been. Former world no. 1. Lindsay Davenport said that allows him to play offensive in the second or third shot in the rally. The toughest person to do that against is Novak, the best returner, and it will be interesting to see if Rafa tries to do anything differently, tries to put more miles per hour on his serve than their last meeting, or if he tries to take the next ball earlier. He's more relaxed when he starts the serve, he's not bending the back knees so much. The toss is more forward, so when he lands his feet are 20 to 25 centimeters in front of the baseline instead of landing on the baseline. So a few more things can make a difference. You can start to see the serve is working. The serve you are seeing here is the final version. There have been little changes along the way. We've been working on that for 3 months and a half. It was ready for Bercy last year, but not being able to play there gave us some more time. When you're making little changes you need that. At this level it's not easy enough to have time. With the help of videos and Francis, Roy, as well, we were changing a few things, showing those things to Rafa. He was watching the videos to see if he was comfortable with the motion. The final version of the serve, there's still room to improve in the future. We are always open to improve, and after here we will sit and see if there are little things we can do. The way Rafa has played this tournament has been exceptional, but that's not easy to do against Novak. Moya echoed Davenport's thoughts on the step up in class, though he is confident Nadal can still hit through the serve. Yeah, we know that short points against Novak is not easy, Moya added. He's one of the best movers on the tour and one of the best returners, but for me Rafa has the weapons to make the points shorter, and also if the points are long he also can play. Mentally also he has the potential capability to do it. Why not expect a great match from Rafa? And even though this is not his favorite surface, I think Rafa has the weapons to beat him. Djokovic certainly seems to have the mental edge over Nadal in recent times. On a hard court, the Serb has not even dropped a set in 6 meetings since Nadal triumphed at the US Open back in 2013. In their most recent battle, Djokovic emerged victorious in a tight 5-setter in the semi-finals of Wimbledon, and Moya believes the Serb is the only player on the planet who can match the Spaniard's inner strength. Mentally, he has an edge on that mental side when he plays any player, but not with Novak, Moya admitted. Novak is very strong, so I think this kind of matches it comes to 3 or 4 points like it happened with Wimbledon, so that day most of these important points went Novak's side, while Moya documented Nadal struggles to be confident enough to produce this new style of tennis, particularly after such a long injury layoff. Djokovic was at his most assured after delivering a brutal beatdown on Lucas Pouille. In a press conference that closer resembled a heavyweight boxer promoting a huge bout without the usual accompanying amateur dramatics, Djokovic almost taunted his opponent over his own superior condition. Asked about Nadal's adaptations, he said, "I have a slightly different approach. I adapt the age to the game. I don't feel at the moment that my body has any significant wear and tear that would compromise my game. My game is pretty much the same. Of course, looking to improve, as anybody else. But generally seeing and feeling the game is quite similar to what I have had throughout my career. I will not change anything for the moment." Djokovic has endured his fair share of defeats to Nadal, 25 to be exact, and just as Nadal is now adapting, he has been forced to rethink his own game over the years in order to compete with his longtime foe. Nadal has historically throughout my life and career been the greatest rival that I ever played against on all the surfaces, he added. Some matches that we had against each other were a great turning point in my career. I feel they have made me rethink my game. I had some disappointing moments where I lost to him. I think I lost to him 9 times so far in the Grand Slams, and I lost some tough matches in finals and semis in French Open and US Open. I won also some great matches. More, Djokovic or Nadal? Laver, Davenport, Lendl and more give Australian Open final predictions. More, Australian Open final preview and predictions, Nadal v Djokovic. These are the kind of matches that you live for, finals of slams, playing the greatest rivals at their best. What more can you ask for? This is where you want to be. It will be a fresh challenge for the Serb come Sunday evening, with a hungry Nadal ready to land a fatal blow on the 14-time Grand Slam champion. I see a difficult one, as always, against a player like Novak, especially when he was playing well, Nadal said. Will be a tough one. I need to be 100% ready for the action. At the same time it is a motivation for me to play against a player like him in this very important place against the one of the world when he's playing so well, too. Let's see. For me is the motivation. I am excited about that match," Djokovic added. "We can promise one thing, and that's knowing both of us that we're going to give absolutely everything out on the court. If, as is expected, that's the case, the tennis world is in for a treat."